So I've always had an interest in film. When I was in medical school, I used to make music videos of Beatles songs. And in science, we're looking for certain biologic truths. And there's some things about life you can't explore in the laboratory. So I wanted to explore them on film. So it's called The Last Poker Game. An old Jewish doctor goes into a home with his wife who has Alzheimer's because he can't take care of her. That's Martin Landau. In the home, he meets an Italian womanizer and gambler. That's played by Paul Sorvino. They meet each other. They become friends. It's an improbable friendship. And they talk about life, and they're both impotent, which plays a role in the film. Then we have a young nurse who's adopted. That's Maria Dizzia. And she goes on a search for her biologic parents, gets an anonymous note that her father's in this home, takes a job at the home to look for her father, meets the two old guys. They both want to be her father.
When I first read it, I think Paul and I both had the same reaction to it, which was, it was a doctor's perspective of a rest home, an old folks' home, and as opposed to a Hollywood version of one. It was unusual. It kept unfolding in unpredictable ways that, for me, were inevitable ways, ultimately. And I just said, okay, it resonated with me immediately, and resonated with Paul immediately, and we both said yes without question. I mean, the fact that it was a first-time director who happened to be 70 years old also intrigued me, because I had done a first-time director movie with Ellen Burstyn a few years ago, an older couple love story that was directed by a 22-year-old, which was the opposite side of the track, so to speak. But Howard was, I met with him in Los Angeles, he and one of the producers, and I liked him immediately. I got a gut response of a certain kind, and I knew he was bright, capable, intelligent, and he had written the script. Not only was he going to direct it. So I just felt very comfortable with him from the get-go. As a young actor, I was working much more readily and being offered more things. I don't like to do what I call the grunters, a character who sits at a table and grunts, and the young people make fun of. I mean, I turn a lot of those down. I get a lot of those. I like a character that is still alive and is thinking, necessarily thinking, and has an arc that goes from one place to another, and either grows or diminishes or whatever. But there's a lot of stuff out there that doesn't interest me. And ageism is something that does exist. And we were talking even at lunch today. I said, you know, when people see me, I'm an old guy. They assume that I don't know what the hell's going on. I do. So it's a reality. And I have learned to become patient with it.
I mean, I had a Skype conversation with Howard, and then I think like 6 days later, I was in Newburyport, Massachusetts. And so I think that I wanted to do, I spoke with, I have two friends who are adopted, and I spoke with them about their experiences. And what was really striking to me is that they were polar opposite, their experiences. And so that was really freeing to me. So that when I met Martin and when I met Paul, I felt really comfortable that whatever alchemy happened between us could be true to Angela and her experience and her desire to be reunited with her father, you know, which is something that is she has a push-pull relationship with. And so I think that the hardest thing was being thrust into it, but at the same time, I think I'm also grateful for that, because that's exactly what was happening to Angela.
Apart from all the things about directing, there's 4 sex scenes and 2 death scenes. And if you're a little out of tune, if they're not done exactly right, they don't work. And I was very sensitive to that. You know, there's some other things, you know, when they're walking in the home, well, if they walk in this way or that way, no one notices. But for those scenes, and they were very delicate scenes, that was the hardest, if you will, for me, although they worked out very well, and the actors were amazing in terms of doing that. So that was the biggest challenge that I was worried about as we did it, because if that's where you could really be out of tune and everybody would know it, but it didn't happen.